Good morning, rat bags. Yes, once more back with Arc Genesis reveals from the Extra Life event. Today we're taking a look at the shoulder tech cannon, fishing net and mining drill. Don't forget to like the video and go and check out the live stream and maybe even donate. The links will be in the description box down below. Kicking it off though with the fishing net, I should say. Then we're going to be showing off the brand new tech shoulder cannon. Looks hella OP. And finally finishing off with a brand new tech mining drill. You may not need them Anki dinos anymore.
I love that one.
Do you?
Yeah, it's adorable.
Is it? I like your description of adorable.
Well, they did an awesome setup and how to show off the benefits of the fishing net.
So we can swap to the concept art.
So this is our fishing net. We always want to make sure we have something for primitive players, for the lower scale players. We want to add something new to the early game. And one of the problems with the fishing pole is that it's very difficult to use without a chair, without somewhere safe to place a chair down. And then getting bait is very difficult. And it's more of a mid-game fishing item or fish-related item because you're getting loot from it too. Right. It's not the greatest loot. It's not the best loot that you can get in the game, but it's definitely good loot. And you need, hard to get items for that bait. So the fishing net serves the purpose of the primitive player being able to get an easy access to meat. So anywhere you have fish, this becomes a great way to get fish meat. All you have to do is stand still in one place. You do a wind up, and then you throw it out. It looks pretty awesome.
No, it does.
As it spreads out, splashes in the water. And then as it's falling down, any fish that get trapped in that net will get caught. And then as soon as you start to pull in, the net closes, the fish are trapped. And the more fish you have, the more they'll actually start fighting back. So if you get a big load with a lot of fish, it actually becomes a difficult thing to do. You're pulling it back in and struggling, and they'll be taken back off in the water. Here we go again for everyone that a second look. This is a funny trailer. And it's so much better with sound. You guys haven't heard the sounds of Genesis yet, I don't think.
No.
But we don't hear the sound. The stream does, obviously. But when you hear the trailers with sound, it definitely sets the tone in a good way. But this is our fishing net. And then once you pull in the fish, based on how many fish you caught, how big they were, it'll give you a bunch of meat back in return.
Nice.
So then you can go out and get all your harvestable meat. It makes early game running around in those dangerous sub-shallow waters a lot more fun and exciting to do. And you can throw this from anywhere as long as you're just standing still. And then reel it back in, and you got a bunch of fish.
Yeah, I can see this very useful in the early game.
I just want to say this, right? I just want to say this for everyone else. We opened the brainstorm chat to talk about things for Gen 1, and the very first thing I said was a shoulder cannon. And I thought I was totally joking. I was like, this is actually super cool. And it turns out that was such a bomb idea, and I was like, all right, amazing. I was like, I feel useful for once.
But yeah, this has been a fun one to design and create.
And then Luke, can you swap to the PC, good sir?
And what this is the tech shoulder cannon. This is a weapon that attaches to your character via your shield slot. Once it's on there, as long as you have element equipped or in your inventory, it'll be able to fuel this, and it will have multiple firing modes, so you can set it from standard fire to rapid fire to sniper fire. And each one of those modes have different profiles that they maintain. The standard mode is actually a pretty wide scan, but it has a projectile that is fairly fast. It's a little bit more likely to hit your target. The further something is, the less likely it's going to hit, just because it has time to move. And it has like a medium range. Then the rapid fire fires a much more rapid projectile, or much much faster projectile, many more per second. Has a higher fire rate. It is late at night. It has a higher fire rate, but sustained fire will overheat it, so it can only go for so long. And then the sniper fire is a much more condensed and charged up shot that will go further. It actually targets more directly in front of the player, keeps the turret focused, whereas rapid fire is a much wider cone of searching, more or less all the way around, at least where it can reach. There's a player's head there, so it can only go so far to this side, but it has a lot of degrees of freedom on the left. So it's something that will target any enemies, hostiles. I think you can set its preferences similar to a turret, like you would on a turret, and you can set what it'll attack, and then just from there on out, you run around with this guy going and doing its thing. This is going to be really, 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 really big for PvP for sure. PvE also will just anything they're doing that requires damage. This is going to magnify that by
Play the video one more time.
extreme amounts. Yeah, definitely. Let's hit the video again.
One more time.
This is also just a great piece of protective armor. Like wearing this means you now have a heads up when anything that you deem as hostile and you don't want near you. You have a direct heads up that's coming by. You start hearing the gun firing, and it'll let you know that there's something around because it'll start targeting. And once you're moving around, it's just constantly searching for targets. This is a fun one, and it's strong. It's very strong because it gives a person just extended power. It's another weapon that's firing for them at all times and targeting things without your input.
It's like a personal turret almost,
exactly.
Where it's just on your shoulder.
And all you got to be doing is looking forward. The only downside to this is all of its projectiles, except for the sniper, are pretty slow. As long as you're not right next to it whenever it's being spawned and you're moving and changing your direction, you can avoid getting hit. But that's a much harder thing to do than it is to say.
Yeah.
Especially with our game, movement is a really easy thing to get, and most players have a really fast speed. So we're going, and our goal is to design this to be something that is dodgeable as long as you are moving. So someone coming in with these is just forcing you to be an also moving player, which is not something that is uncommon already.
Right.
It's just encouraging that play style. But it is a very costly thing to bring, and that means you have to carry element on you to carry this thing around. And it does work with any armor or no armor. So you don't need anything to equip this other than attaching it to your shield slot.
Which is cool. It may or may not be able to answer this. It is a very basic question, but if I have this equipped, will I be able to toggle this on and off? You know what I'm saying? Like if okay, gotcha.
So it'll pop up from holding your E, your multi-use button. Once that wheel pops up, it'll have a activate, deactivate, whichever that toggle is. If it is active and you whistle neutral, that'll also disable it.
Okay.
Cool. For those quick disables, like, oh no, that's a friendly person, or I forgot that it's on and I'm running around in a place that I'm not targeting hostiles, or I didn't realize I had player targeting on, and you're talking just to your neighbor or something like that. We definitely are trying to making sure we find ways that everything's quick to turn off or quick to deactivate, preferably through a means that you're already familiar with. And everyone's used to commanding their dynos, so hopefully that'll be an adequate control.
Yeah.
It's always a challenge finding controls to assign to something. The more abilities you give something, and it just, especially with consoles, a consideration always, like we're limited to what we can do for there because we don't want to create something that they can't have.
Right. We got to press a 18-button combination just to enable a feature.
But that is definitely something with this and everything else in this expansion in Genesis has been considered. All right, so let's start it off. Let's show them the next thing, and this is the mining drill. Woo! As we said, we're filling out the tech tiers. We've done primitive. We've definitely done tech with the cruise missile, and this is the mining drill. This is our machine tier. This is going to be a super harvester that will empower the player to be able to harvest whatever they want. It's an equipable tool that will rapidly harvest resources in front of the player who is using it. By pressing and holding the fire button, the mining drill will use gasoline, similar to the flamethrower, and it'll be able to harvest rocks, trees, corpses, crystals.
Pretty much everything, right?
Yeah, pretty much everything. It is a impressive laser, and it is also gasoline powered. So it's an affordable, high-tech item that gets you a lot. As you keep using it, it'll start overheating. And overheating will hit a phase where it forces it to cool down. You'll actually take a little bit of a durability hit. So part of the harvesting mechanic of this thing is just maintaining that heat level,
Gotcha.
not going too high, not letting it go overboard. And then if you use it on players or dinos, it'll actually apply a similar effect to the flashbang. So it's even effective in PvP if you want to use it that way, or just for trolling your friends. Which is more common, the more common use case of any of these things. And it's a significantly capable harvesting component. Nothing will ever beat breeding dinos for harvesting, getting a bunch of weight in their stats, having a high melee dino that specifically is great at mining metal. They're always going to be the king of harvesting for that specific item, but this is a great filler item for people that have trouble bringing around dinos, harvesting all over the map or anything like that. You can just take a heavy weight carrying dino and jump off, use this to harvest, and then head back on home or head back around. So again, we're filling out as many of the core aspects of the game, and it's not all late game this time around. We're trying to expand the experience from A to B as much as possible and just increase what people can do in those different tiers.
I just want to be interesting because I know people have very specific harvesting runs that they do for specific materials, you know, and this will definitely, I think, change a little bit of that meta as far as the way that people harvest. It has the potential to, at least.
It's evolved significantly over time.
Yeah.
And it's changed quite a bit in some ways, and then other ways it's very, very similar. But a lot of the times you'll see some form of a Quetz with a platform saddle and a nice little ramp, and then an Ankylo or a Doed sitting on the front, just hitting away at rocks. And hopefully this gets another way to do something similar, probably, because you got to get a bunch of numbers, a bunch of materials in our game. That's just part of the game. But hopefully this gives them a new way.
Now when you're on 8X.
Yeah, now when you're on 8X. So. Yeah, right now they're like harvesting. We don't care about that.
Who cares?
We've got more than we'll ever know what to do with. It's the bounty times. But this is a fun tool for players to play with. It's exciting. It's very well designed too. The mechanics of how it works and what it does look very, very, very well done.